Third step is the machine you want, the models that they have, and the competition to compare them. Let's say, for example, the ThinkPad Z61. It was made in, I want to say, 2007. It was basically a widescreen T60, but it came in an assortment of flavors. There was the Z61T, which I nicknamed Tiny because that's the 14-inch one. There's the C61E, which was, I believe, the economy model. That was a 15-inch widescreen one. Then you had the Z61M. That one came in a assortment of flavors. You had different processors for that. You could end up with a processor from the Z61E in there, but it also had screen options. I believe you had the WXGA screen, you had a WSXGA screen, which I think was a really nice screen. I got one unit that had that, and it was really good. Then you have I think you were also able to get a WUXGA screen on that. So that was very nice too. And then on top of those three models, you had a Z61P, which stands for performance. That came with discrete graphics. It came with the T60Ps. I think in not Intel. It came with the, what's that called? Fire GL V 5200 3200M. I think it's 5200. Yeah, it came with a 5200 and 5250. Anyways, that was like the top line model. That model only comes with the WUGX. It came with a full HD screen, pretty much. Okay, and it was a great model. And then on top of those Z series is that few of them came with regular lids, and some of them had a titanium lid. And those are the ones that I really want to get because they are sweet. They're the only ThinkPads that have those, minus all the other ones I forgot, like the ones made by Acer, the I series. The S30 had a piano, no, S31, I think it was, had a piano black finish on it. So I always want to get that to collect. Anyways, I'm getting way too far off of this. Just make sure that when you're looking for your laptop, that just see there might be like a screen option on there that you might not know. You might not. You might end up buying just like the garbage HD screen. That would suck real bad. I mean, unless you're blind, it doesn't really matter. But if you want, if you got like, if you want to watch stuff in 1080p, we're at 1080p right now. Like everything should be 1080p. I don't know why there's tablets that still offer only HD only screens. It's kind of sad. So now we're gonna get to the processor. So I always love going to CPUbenchmark.net. They let you they have like comparisons of like their benchmark of like the processors. It's mainly processors. There's another part where you click where you could do GPU also, but I like to look at those, just to make sure to see what the numbers that they say. There's also CPU World. That one I stumbled across that one because one day I was like, what's the difference between a ThinkPad, a T60's T2500 CPU compared to a T61's T7500. So after I looked at that, I saw one of them had, it was much more powerful. I think the T61 was a little bit more lightweight, or it drew less power. So there's that website too, and when I went on that, it showed me everything. It said pros and cons, and it showed like a detailed description of all the specs on there. There's also CPU Boss as well. That I didn't really use that one, but I mean sometimes when I'm unsure, you always want to, you can't just go base yourself off of one opinion. Like, I mean, you're gonna go and ask people what's good music, and someone's like, oh, this is good. Next, you listen to freaking, what is it, Flogging Molly or freaking Animal Collective. Ugh. Okay, well, Flogging Molly's alright. Don't get me wrong, but it's not something I'd always listen to because I don't have the CDs. Anyways, so there's that, and for the GPU, I have videocardbenchmark.net. I look at that for now. You could compare GPUs on that. You can also compare the pricing on them. If you want to buy a desktop GPU, go there, because it will give you the performance and the price performance ratio, and what the prices were for like the past like 2 years or 6 months. So that's always good to know, that if if you miss on a good deal, or if it's the price is there's no stock of it no more, so the price is way too high. Another website is gpuboss.com. I don't use that one, but I'm just throwing it out there in case you always gotta have different opinions. And then also, one thing about the processors is that an i7 isn't always the greatest thing. For example, the X201, it had a full. You could get an i5 processor on there, and I think it's a 2.6 gigahertz processor, or 2.4. I'm not too sure, but on the X201 tablet ThinkPad, that there's an offer for an i7, and the i7 on there actually is actually less powerful on the thing, because it's a low voltage, or I should say a mobile version of that processor. Even though it's on a laptop, they have like a lower voltage one. So when you're running tests, they both had integrated graphics. The i7 actually scored lower, and it actually pulls more power because it's using supposedly 4 cores. So just keep in mind on processors, don't be sold on the i7 or the 8 core if you're gonna go AMD. Do they even sell those on laptops? I'm not even sure. And also, other things that you have to look for on laptops is that if they have, what kind of display that they have. Are they IPS displays? Are they multi-touch? Are they touch? I would always go for an IPS display. They are great. You can look at at any angle. There's also the contrast ratios. Another thing to look at. Sometimes some of the ThinkPads I have, they suck at bright light. My X61 tablet, not that great in bright light. So you should also check on LED backlit screens. Those are always more brighter. And then you have touch displays, which I wouldn't really recommend unless you're having like a tablet. Then I would go for that. But if a regular laptop, it's kind of weird. But people already put fingerprints on their laptops even before there was even touch displays. Hell, on a freaking 90s desktops, I've seen fingerprints all over the screen. Don't ask me why, and it's not done just by children. I cringed when I saw a MacBook Pro with all these fingerprints splattered all over it. It's like, did they just get out of In-N-Out and just freaking put their hands on that? Ugh. And also, other things about the screen is that if you're going to get a 16 to 10 ratio or 16 to 9 ratio, that's a little thing. Some people don't care. There's also the 4 to 3 displays, but no one really uses those, so those are pretty square. Let me see. That's pretty much it for those steps, and then we're going to go to our next one.